Welcome back to the show, everyone. Now, if you remember, you might remember that we've been following along the journey of the Statue of Responsibility, which will be getting built here in Utah. And to give us some updates and tell us a little bit about the continuing work of this incredible movement, we have President and CEO of the Statue of Responsibility Foundation, Steve Cohen, here with us today. Steve, thank you so much for being with us. How are you doing today?
I'm doing wonderfully. It's great to be with you and talk to Salt Lake through Park City TV.
Absolutely. We've been following along, as I mentioned, the journey of the Statue of Responsibility. We had Lisa and Gary a few months ago on the show talking a little bit about the work, but it's really such an honor to hear from you and to maybe get some updates and kind of what's been happening with the Statue of Responsibility, an incredible movement. And I know you are currently in Utah right now, so tell us, Steve, what brings you to Utah today?
Yeah, well, today I'm here to take a few meetings and talk to some legislators about the Statute of Responsibility. And tomorrow, most importantly, we're meeting with a group called the Point of the Mountain Authority, which, as you know, used to be the site of the old prison and now is going to be redeveloped.
Right.
And that is exactly the location. We've asked for about 6.5 acres there where we could build our monument to the idea of acting responsibly. It's really sort of that simple. It's a 305-foot monument that we think is, it's not an attraction. We really think this is a attraction that has purpose and meaning, because that's what it's about. And like the Statue of Liberty, we think it'll bring people from all over the world to Utah. And so we're going in front of the what's called the POM Authority, which is charged with what goes into the development. And this will be our second major meeting. We had our first meeting back in November. We've done a lot of work on the statue as well as the requirements of Utah. And so this is meeting number 2 in front of the board. And then we hope after this meeting that sometime early summer, we'll get final approval for the placement of the statue. So that's why I'm here.
That's absolutely amazing. And I want to talk a little bit more about kind of this whole the process of meeting with the commission and stuff in a little bit. But before we get to that, Steve, I kind of want to take a little step back and for you to remind us and give us a little bit of background on what the Statue of Responsibility Foundation is and what you all are attempting to do in Utah and why Utah specifically.
Yeah, well, the derivation of the idea came from the book, A Man's Search for Meaning by the psychiatrist and Holocaust survivor Viktor Frankl, who came to know Stephen Covey, as you all know, an advocate of positive psychology here in the state of Utah and worldwide. They came together and Frankl said, we need something that represents the need to have responsible civic, without responsible action, liberty can go away. So as an adjunct to the Statue of Liberty on the East Coast, let's build a Statue of Responsibility on the West Coast.
Right.
So about 15 years ago, Gary and Lisa began the quest of that and met with Frankel's widow and talked about it. And then Gary, the great sculptor that he is from Utah, created the Statue of Responsibility. I joined them about 12 years ago as a board member. And since 2017, I've been president of the organization. It's a 501c3 not-for-profit. And we're not asking for any money from the people of Utah. This is a gift, just like the Statue of Liberty was a gift from France to the people of America. This is a gift to Utah. Why Utah? Because there's this thing called the Utah Way, where people in Utah are able to put aside their differences and look forward to creating something that is about the common good.
Right.
This does not happen everywhere in America, but we do think it happens in Utah. So this ideal of acting responsibly, I think, is already here in Utah. And when the POM opened for us, we all said, why don't we rethink not being in California and think about being in Utah?
Now, Steve, it's been 15 years of hard work, 15 years in the making, and we're kind of reaching that finish line, and we're in that process of getting the approval. And I know, as you mentioned, you're going to be meeting with the Point Commission this week. Tell us a little bit about that process and how it's been, and where are you in that process?
Well, we're at stage 2 in the process. We think it's only 3 stages. It's a deliberative process because the authority wants to make certain that whatever they decide to place there can actually be realized. And of course, that's always a question mark of any development, whether it's a statute of responsibility or not. when you think of the statue, you have to think of it of basically being a 305-foot high-rise building. If you think of it that way, then you get an idea of architecturally what we're trying to do. And the point of the mountain has environmental concerns, concerns of traffic, revenue concerns, a variety of criteria that we had to prove to them that we're meeting. Mm-hmm. We think that today we have met all the criteria, and I will present all of that tomorrow. We have established an architect in Utah. We've established a construction company. We think we have figured out the internal structure and the outside molding from a foundry in Utah that Gary already owns. So we think we're there, but this process is a long one and difficult. I must admit. I mean, it's just very deliberative and very thoughtfully done. And that's good for Utah, and it's also good for us because we want to make sure that both sides are in agreement and that we have a strong handshake as we go forward.
Absolutely, Steve. Well, best of luck with that meeting. I'm sure it'll go great. And as you said, you guys have been working and prepping a lot. So we wish you the best of luck with that. And you kind of also touched on this briefly before, but I know, as you mentioned, this will be a gift to the state of Utah and to the people of Utah. And you really are depending on donations and private funding, you know? So tell me a little bit about that and how optimistic you are that the general public will support you through donations.
Well, the major capital fund will be with people of high net worth and organizations and foundations of high net worth. So when we talk about the individuals participating, of course, we want people to come in. But that's small funds for operations, not the big funds for the capital raise. We're looking to raise between $250 and $300 million to build the statue from groundbreaking until completion. We think that that's a trajectory of probably 2 to 3.5 years from the time we break ground. And therefore, we're asking the citizens of Utah just to become part of the project, embrace it, show up, and be part of all the events we'll have along the road as we begin to build it. We think that Utah is a place where people will really embrace this. And by the way, we've got this thing called the Olympics coming too. Right. And to have this statue of responsibility here in Utah when the Olympics come back, I think it'll be extraordinary bringing together of the will of the people of Utah to say something to the world about responsibility.
Absolutely, Stephen. And along those lines, and you know, we're talking about bringing people together. What can we do as a community? What can the people of Utah do to help get this message across, this message of responsibility? Or what do you say to all the viewers watching who might not completely understand what you guys are doing? What is your message to the community?
I think it starts small. Go to our website, which is statueofresponsibility.org, and look at the website. There's so much there for you to participate in and get the knowledge that you want at any depth that you want about it. And then from there, if you're in favor of it, and we hope that you will be, then you want to talk to your local boards, your local mayors, and then also to your representatives about why you think the statue is valuable to the state of Utah and why you wish to embrace it. The statue is just the beginning. It starts a movement that we think will be global. And by the way, this is not just another thing. There is nothing else happening on the planet that we live on. We are the Mount Rushmore, the Eiffel Tower, and the Statue of Liberty of the moment. And for Utah to be part of and for all of us to participate in it in our own lifetime.
Absolutely, Steve. Well, there you have it, folks. You can visit statueofresponsibility.org to find out more information. And we'll be continuing to follow this amazing journey. As Steve mentioned it, a movement, much more than an attraction, a movement of responsibility. Steve, thank you so much for joining us today, and best of luck with the rest of your work.
Thanks so much for having me.
Thank you, Steve. We're going to take a short break, but we'll be right back with more of the show. So stick around with us, and we'll be right back.